Kaiden had just moved into the neighborhood. He decided one day to play on the nearby 9-hole golf course to relax. When he entered the golf shop to rent some clubs, he didn't expect the person behind the counter to be as dreamy as he was. The young pro was tall, athletic, tanned, and toned. Kaiden was instantly smitten, and he was quite eager to play. Hi everyone, it's me, Casey, your host for Steamy Stories, the only podcast where bromance turns bromosexual. Today we're hitting the fairway. That's right, we're going golfing. So, generously apply your lotion, grab your balls, and meet me on the front nine to play. Parker worked in the pro shop at a 9-hole golf club. It was a lush little course nestled in an out-of-the-way area of town, and almost exclusively frequented by locals or the occasional businessmen passing through the area for a meeting. Parker's job was renting clubs, selling balls, tees, and refreshments to the golfers. The course had just opened for spring and summer, and Parker looked forward to seeing his regular clientele arrive for another season. It was his third year working in the pro shop, and he had already earned the title of Most Beloved Employee. The staff and the guests loved his charm and upbeat personality. Parker was also quite striking, at 6'2", with an athletic build and deep olive skin from the healthy tan he earned while golfing in his spare time. His bright green eyes contrasted brilliantly with his long, dark, thick hair. It was no wonder many of the players on the course requested him to caddy for them when he wasn't attending the shop. It was Wednesday, and the second week of the season, when Parker caught the eye of a new guest at the club. The man's name was Kaiden, and he was the most gorgeous thing that Parker had ever seen. Parker was instantly taken when Aiden sauntered into the shop earlier that day, looking to rent clubs. The two men didn't make small talk at first. Parker was too tongue-tied to engage in his usual clever banter with his customers. Kaiden just rented a set of clubs, smiled, and headed out to the course. The putting green was located directly across from the golf pro shop, and Parker had a clear view from the counter of the golfers who played. He pretended to be busy as he stood by the cash register and watched Kaiden putt on the grass while he waited for his tee time to be called. Kaiden was the most handsome thing Parker had ever seen. He had short, chestnut hair, a slightly scruffy face, and a warm, inviting smile. Graced with a perfect body, he wasn't too lean or muscular. He was healthy and fit, just like Parker liked his men. He wore a tight, blue polo shirt that perfectly framed his square pecs, washboard abs, and tan slacks that clung to his powerful thighs and chiseled glutes. Parker couldn't take his eyes off Kaiden's brilliant smile, or his perfectly round, toned ass as he bent over to pick up the balls on the ground. Parker stood at his counter for about 15 minutes, watching this flawless specimen of manhood putt on the nearby green. Over the loudspeaker, he could hear Kaiden's tee time be called, and soon the man left to begin his round. Time to get back to work. Parker chuckled to himself, now aware that his genes telegraphed just how conspicuously turned on by the sight of the new guest he was. Try as he did, he couldn't clear the smoldering images of this stud from his mind. He could barely contain his excitement at the prospect of the hot new golfer returning soon. Parker knew how long it took a skillful player to play 9 holes of golf. He estimated it would be about an hour and a half, based on Kaiden's proficiency on the putting green. About 90 minutes later, just as he headed to the back area of the store to grab something, the chime of the front door rang. It must be him. He's back. Okay, keep calm, everybody. Everybody calm down. Nobody panic! Parker rushed to finish what he was doing and hurried to the front counter. But first, he called to whoever entered. "I'll be right there." He was disappointed that it was just his coworker stopping in to cover for him so he could take his lunch break. Lunch? Oh, that's right. It's 1 o'clock. I forgot. Parker was too distracted to think about food. He knew he wanted to eat, but he didn't want to leave the shop, fearing that his dream man would soon return. "You're not eating?" his coworker asked, confused. Parker hastily replied in an attempt to get him to go. Nah, I want to stay here. Catch up on work." His friend chuckled, amused. "Hold it 1 second. You want to catch up on work? Here? What's there to catch up on? You rent clubs and sell balls." Parker didn't want to explain. "How about you pick me up a sandwich, huh? I have things to do." His coworker agreed to grab him something from the course's cafe and let him forgo his break if he so desired. Parker was happy to stay in the shop and wait for Kaiden to finish his round. 5 minutes later, and as Parker hoped, the door to the pro shop opened, and Kaiden sauntered in. He beamed with exuberant joy. "What a great course! I've never played here before. That was fun." "I'm glad you enjoyed it," Parker replied, attempting to be casual as he inquired, "Are you planning on playing here again?" Kaiden thought for a minute. It was as if he was mentally checking his schedule. He replied, "If I come next week, will you be here to rent me the clubs?" Parker wanted to holler, "Hell yeah, I'll be here!" Instead, he calmly responded, "Yep, I'll be here. I work every Wednesday." Kaiden handed his clubs to Parker. Well, I guess I'll see you next week then." He then smiled, turned, and exited the shop. Parker watched Kaiden leave. The way he carried himself captivated him. Woof, what a man. The following week, Parker waited intently for Kaiden to again stroll into his store. As Parker's mind reeled about whether or not he'd show up today, the sound of the bell on the door chimed, and Kaiden walked in. As expected, he looked spectacular in a white polo shirt and tight navy blue shorts that showed off his lean, slightly hairy legs. God! He greeted Parker with a warm salutation. "Ah, you're here. I hoped you'd be working today." Parker's voice cracked as he responded, "Yep, every Wednesday. It's nice to see you again, too. I've taken the liberty of having clubs ready for you. I try to remember all our guests." Kaiden was tickled at the idea that Parker had everything ready for him. "How thoughtful of you." Kaiden signed out the clubs and gave him a flirtatious wink and smile that melted Parker's heart. He then gathered everything necessary to play and went to the putting green across the way to warm up. Try as he did, Parker couldn't help but watch as Kaiden provided another sexy show preparing for his upcoming round. The next 90 minutes were unbearable. Parker waited impatiently for Kaiden to return so he could chat with him for a few more precious moments. Like clockwork, the door chimed 90 minutes later, and Kaiden strolled in with the clubs. "Another great day out here. Thanks for setting aside these clubs for me. You really know how to make a guy feel welcome." Parker blushed. "Oh, it's my job. I'm glad you had a good day and great experience here. Hopefully I'll get to see you again next week." Kaiden grinned innocently and replied, "Yes, I'll do my best to make it in next week. Sometimes things come up at work, but if it's possible, I'll be here." Kaiden smiled and walked out. Parker took in another eyeful of the sexy stud as he walked away. He couldn't help but think to himself, the view from the back is almost as good as the view from the front. Every Wednesday, Kaiden would faithfully enter at the same time. He'd make pleasant small talk, rent his golf clubs, and play. Parker enjoyed Kaiden's regular visits to the course and was certainly interested in him. But there never seemed to be anything more between the two men. What's up with this guy? Is he gay? Is he straight? Bi? I don't see a ring, so he's not married. He seems flirty and friendly, but it never goes past friendly conversation when he comes in. How can I tell if he's interested in me or not? Summer was almost over, and the golf course would soon close for the winter. Parker grew desperate. The weekly encounters with his fantasy man frustrated him and drove him mad with desire. What would I do if I never saw him again? How could he just leave my life without me taking a chance and asking him out on a date? His frustration went on for another few weeks. Finally, he could take it no more. Today's the day. I'll take a shot and ask him if he'll go out with me. Parker eagerly waited for Kaiden to arrive. 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock. 3. Kaiden never showed up at the golf course that day. Where is he? Did something happen to him? Did I blow my chance with him? Will I ever see him again? Thursday was payday, and Parker's day off at the club. This particular Thursday, a bill that needed to be paid was due. Rather than waiting until he was working again, he stopped at the golf course and picked up his weekly salary. Much to his surprise, when he entered the golf course, he noticed Kaiden was putting on the green. He was both delighted and surprised to see him. Sure, there was a pang of disappointment that he wasn't there the day before when he was working and could have seen him and they could have chatted and said hello and maybe asked him out, but he knew that sometimes people's schedules change. And they come a day earlier or later than usual, than planned. It's fine. Either way, Kaiden was there, and now so was Parker. Parker quickly filled his eyes with the stud candy before him. He soon noticed that Kaiden was using a beautiful set of expensive clubs, rather than the ones he rented from him every week. He couldn't resist the desire to talk to him. He was also eager to find out what was up with those clubs. As he approached the green, Kaiden noticed him and called out with a welcoming exuberance, "You're here! I wondered where you were." Parker quickly responded, "Today's my day off. I'm just picking up my check. I'm sorry you weren't able to play yesterday. I missed you at the shop," Kaiden explained. "Yes, I had a last-minute meeting that prevented me from playing. That's why I came in today. I went into the shop to see you earlier, but they told me today was your day off. I was super bummed." Before Parker could inquire about where he got his new clubs, Kaiden gave him a dazzling smile that made him weak in the knees. He asked, "Since you're not on the work schedule today, would you like to play 9 holes with me? It'll be my treat. My tee time should be called any minute now." Parker loved golfing and was quite good at it. "Sure, I'd love to join. I'll be right back." It was late in the day, and the pro shop had already closed. Fortunately, Parker had the keys to the door with him. He opened the store, rushed in, grabbed the best clubs, and dashed back to the green. Kaiden's tee time was called over the loudspeaker just as Parker returned, and the two men set forth to play the modest course. The sun was now low in the sky, and brilliant hues of orange and purple reflected off the wispy clouds above. The warm, refreshing breeze caressed them as they played. It was a perfect time for golfing. As the round progressed, both young men discovered that each was a skillful player. Their sense of spirited competition made them strive to best the other's scores. Conversations were light and lively, fun and flirty. Parker could see Kaiden casually checking him out as he swung. He certainly didn't mind. He was not only flattered, but guilty of doing the same. Kaiden's form-fitting, slightly tight slacks and well-toned-out shirt made his square chest and firm, muscular arms impossible not to stare at. Time flew. It felt like their round was finished within mere minutes. As the two men completed the course, it was evident that neither of them was quite done with the other for the evening. The day had now turned to dusk, and a quiet hush fell over the course. The last of the sun's golden rays cast a soft, warm glow on Kaiden that made him look almost angelic in the light. Parker enjoyed playing and getting to know this sweet, sexy man. Even so, a question remained. Where did he get those golf clubs? He discreetly wondered aloud, "I noticed you're not playing with our clubs today. Are those yours?" Kaiden's demeanor instantly changed. He went from confident to concerned. He glanced down bashfully at the grass and, with a timid voice, admitted, "These are my clubs. When I moved here a few months ago, they were packed and in a truck. They arrived a week after I played your course. I knew that if I used them, I wouldn't have a reason to come see you." Parker was taken aback by how shy and adorably awkward Kaiden was being. Kaiden continued, "It's silly, I know. When I learned that today was your day off, I decided not to bother renting clubs and to use mine." Parker chuckled at the sweet, honest explanation Kaiden offered. "You could have just come in and said hello. I would have loved to just chat with you. There was no need to pay for clubs you didn't need." Kaiden bashfully laughed at himself. "I know, but renting and returning the clubs from you made playing here so much better. Plus, I'm kind of shy around hot guys." Oh, was it the warm summer breeze, the soothing setting sun, or the coy innocence of this studly man that stood before him that made Parker decide this hunky man now needed to be his? Without hesitation, he took a step forward, moving closer to Kaiden. They now stood standing face to face, chest to chest. Parker slowly leaned forward so that Kaiden could feel his warm, moist breath on his lips. They were intimately close for what seemed to be an impossibly long time. And finally, Kaiden was the one who couldn't restrain himself anymore. He reached up, placed his hand on the back of Parker's head, and pulled him towards him, kissing him passionately. Their lips caressed each other with a longing they'd suppressed all summer. Parker reached down and grabbed Kaiden's crotch playfully. He now had a fistful of man-meat in his hand and teased, "I see someone's got his 9-iron ready." Without missing a beat, Kaiden responded, "That's not a 9-iron. That's my driver." Parker needed no further verbal foreplay and wasted no time taking Kaiden's hand, escorting him to the pro shop, and hastily unlocking the door. He swiftly ushered Kaiden to the storeroom, where a large, comfortable sofa awaited them. Eagerly, impatiently, the two men disrobed each other. Within minutes, they hurled their naked bodies onto the couch in a passionate embrace. One thing was abundantly clear to both golfers in that instance. There was one more hole to be played that evening. Hot story, right? Although, honestly, who carries their own clubs down the fairway? Not me. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just being catty. Sorry, couldn't resist. I think I deserve a mulligan. I hope you enjoyed that steamy story and didn't find it subpar. Is that better?
Is that better? No? Okay, I'll stop.
Let's move on. You've been listening to Steamy Stories, written by JC Calciano and narrated by your very much not a golfer host, Casey. We appreciate you being here and your lovely comments, reviews, ratings, and supporting our other shows, books, and movies. Seriously, guys, thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode and plan to join us again next month for another installment of Steamy Stories. Later, bro.